like to begin this subject area webinar, which will be a question and answer session featuring program staff from our programs offered in the subject area of medicine and health. So my name is Timothy Parker. I work at External Relations here at Lund University, and I will be the moderator for today's webinar. So I can see we have 26 participants here today. That's fantastic. Over the next hour, you will have an opportunity to ask your questions, your program-specific questions, or your general questions about the programs that we offer in the subject area of medicine and health. So just to give you a very, very quick summary of what is actually offered here at Lund University. Lund University offers a master's degree program in public health, in medical science with several specialization options. And we offer a master's degree program in biomedicine as well. And also a bachelor degree program in biomedicine. And excitingly as well, we also offer a standalone course at the master's level in cancer biology. But we are very, very lucky to have some program staff with us today who are experts within their field and can answer any questions that you may have. So without further ado, I would like to hand over to our program staff. So Martin, we can start with you. Could you please introduce yourself? Could you introduce your program? And let us know a little bit more about your program and your position.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Martin Stafström, which is a very Swedish last name, and it's just not pronounceable in English. I'm sorry. But I'm a PhD in public health and an associate professor in public health and a senior lecturer in public health. The program of the master's program in public health is a program where we try to train students both to become future academics, but also future professionals. It's a generalist master's of public health program. We don't have specific focus areas. We rather try to train our students in all different aspects of public health. But that also means that we allow students to shape some of their curricula on their own. So we have, as electives, we have internship courses, and we have a few other elective courses in sexual and reproductive health and rights, public health nutrition, and one in cost effectiveness and impact assessment, which is related to economics. Now, the program of the MPH program in Lund is quite popular. And one of the reasons for that is most likely because we have not any specific requirements apart from you having a bachelor's when you apply, and that you speak and write decent English. Now, why is it so? Why don't we just admit health science people? Well, because public health is a very versatile and very wide field of within academia. It includes psychology, it includes political science, it includes economics, it definitely includes health sciences. So we rather look for an eclectic and both eclectic and international classroom, where students learn from each other as much as they do from their professors. That said, it means that we have a lot of applicants, normally around 1,500 per year for the 40 study spots. So as you can imagine, it's rather competitive to get in. But I should say there are a lot of incomplete applications because we require our prospective students to not only provide us with their transcripts, but also a CV, some documents actually backing up what's on the CV. You can't say you've been the Secretary General of the UN without providing us some documents saying that you were. We also ask you to complete a very small assignment. Those students who do all of that are far less than half of the 1,500. So I mean, you improve your odds quite substantially by filling out complete applications. So I would say that's my first very strong recommendation to any applicant. Do everything we ask for, please. Then, of course, we're recruiting students from all over the world. In the most recent batch, we have students from every continent on Earth. And it's rather evenly distributed, I'd say. 5, 6 students from Africa, 5, 6 students from Asia, 3 from Australia, New Zealand, 3 or 4 from Latin America, 6, 7 from North America, and the rest from all over Europe. So what you will learn is not only about the Swedish health system, but you will learn about global issues and global perspectives on those issues, since we discuss quite a lot in the classroom. So that's the Masters of Public Health. Should say it's a 2-year program, like all of our master's programs in the medical faculty. And as all of our programs, we end the program with 1 full semester of thesis writing. So one could say it's 1.5 years of classes and 1 year or 1 semester of an independent research project.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for that introduction and summary of the program, Martin. That was very insightful. And I would also like to say you perhaps have noticed there was a 3rd staff member who popped on screen briefly, and that was our representative from the master's and bachelor programs in biomedicine. And unfortunately, that staff member was just having a slight issue with their sound, so they're going to log on again shortly. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our next program representative from the master's degree program in medical science. So Agneta, very nice to meet you.
Thank you. Nice to see you all. I'm Agneta Malmgren Fenge. I'm an associate professor of occupational therapy, and I'm also senior lecturer in occupational therapy and heading the master program in medical science. Some of the information I would like to give you is similar to what Martin pointed out, but first of all, a more brief description of the program, what it is. We enroll students who have bachelor's degree related to 7 main field areas, which are audiology, physiotherapy, occupational therapy, nursing, midwifery, radiology, and speech and language pathology. And of course, they also, with that said, they have the degrees and certifications as registered professionals, the majority of them at least. They come from all over the world, mostly Asia and Africa and Europe. We have some North American students, some 1 or 2 from Brazil or other countries in South America, but there are quite a few. So the majority of them are from Asia and Africa. It's always very nice to have a diverse group of students. They're also diverse in age. Some are newly graduated, some have worked quite a bit and want to move forward in their careers. And quite a few of them connect to us after graduation and saying, hey, I got a PhD position in the US or the UK. So we follow them in their next steps in their careers, and they connect to us. Basically, we have the same general goals, learning outcomes for all master's degree in Sweden. They are general, but we have 3 local goals here, which are we focus on evidence-based practice, evidence-based healthcare, evidence-based medicine, evidence-based practice. We also focus very much on innovation and digital health, mHealth, eHealth. And we also explicitly focus on interprofessional learning and collaboration. We take the advantage of being situated in Lund, which is so much of a hub for technology development with both small and larger companies in that respect, and the university hospital as well. So we try to connect very much out to other fields, except healthcare, of course. So with that said, you will meet very many people that are just closely or loosely related to healthcare medicine here. All students form one group, interprofessional group. We don't split the professions in any courses. They are general. You focus on some profession-specific tasks in each course, but it is under the umbrella of innovation, eHealth, evidence-based practice, or something else. So profession-specific courses are not provided in the program, but there's profession-specific developments, or you use your specific profession to develop further knowledge within that, in each course, more or less. Last semester is dedicated to the thesis work. So we have students now sort of planning their thesis work for the next semester. From when it comes to some comments when it comes to applications, very many incomplete applications. Follow the guidelines when you write your application. Don't skip any step. There is a small assignment we ask you to do. Please do that carefully. Otherwise, we can't really evaluate your competences or if you fulfill the requirements for admission. So with that said, welcome with your application. We think it's very exciting.
Thank you very much for that summary of your master's degree program, Agneta. And we are also joined by a member of the Faculty of Medicine today, Magnus Hillman. Now, Magnus, I know you might have been having a few technical issues, but it looks like you can hear me now because you're nodding and smiling. So that's great to hear. So Magnus, if you could please introduce yourself, which program or programs you work with, and let us know a little bit more about your program.
Thank you, Jim. I apologize for having huge technical issues trying to log in. I don't know why I had to reboot and I had to try it again. And never been such a mess before. We have 1.5 years of Zoom meetings, and this was a brand new experience for me. But I'm Magnus Hillman, and I'm the program director for the biomedical programs. We have 2 programs: the bachelor program, which is a 3-year-long program. It started last year, actually, so it's still under construction. And we accept approximately 50 students each year to that one. We also have the master's program, to which we accept 25 to 30 students each year. And It's also a brand new program. We have 2 different kind of streaks that you can choose, 2 research tracks at the end of the master's program within life science industry or in experimental medicine, the academia industry. When we have the bachelor program is a subject topic focused kind of program where you need to understand the concepts of cell biology, biochemistry, and molecular medicine, while the master's program is more a competency-based with experimental design, scientific communication, methodology, innovation and entrepreneurship and such. So the focus areas are different between the 2 programs. I would say that we have very little influence over the admittance to the bachelor program. Everything is done through admission, central admission. When it comes to master's program, we also have, like you said, Agneta, the little personal letter that you have to write, some kind of assignment that you have to do. Please really do that with care and thought, because this really matters when it comes to accepting students at the master's program. So that's very important. Do not just skip that part.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that summary of your program, Magnus. And I would also like to remind everyone attending this webinar today that this is a Q&A webinar. So we really do invite you to ask any questions that you may have about the programs that we're discussing today, and ask them in the Q&A feature, which you can see either at the bottom of the screen or in some cases at the top of your screen, a little Q&A icon. So feel free to ask any questions you have there, and we will get stuck into answering them to the best of our ability. I do, of course, have many very interesting questions that I want to ask the program staff as well. But I can see that we actually do have a question that's come in already from Bashir. And this looks like it would be one for Agneta. And Bashir asks, would there be any concentration on sports therapy during the medical sciences program? So I'll hand this one over to Agneta.
Yes and no. I forgot to say that we try to connect as soon as possible each student to research, involve researchers in the program. And of course, there are teachers in the program that are researchers within the sports sciences. They are mainly physiotherapists, but they can also be from other professions. So it's not specifically courses, but those research will be around, and there will most probably be possibilities for being involved in this research as part of when you do your thesis work.
All right, thank you so much for that answer. We currently do not have any other questions from our attendees today. So I would actually like to ask another question to our panelists. And this one is actually about the program structure. So in your summary of the program, you did give a short overview of the type of students you're looking for and some short application tips, but I'm sure that many of our attendees today are wondering in a little bit more detail about how the program is structured. All of the programs are 2 years, apart from, of course, the bachelor's degree program in biomedicine, which is 3 years. So if you could please give a short summary of how the semesters and courses are divided up, and I'll give a little bit of an overview of the research and thesis writing process at the end of the degree as well. So Martin, perhaps we could begin with you and with the public health master's degree program.
Okay, well, all of our courses are, for different reasons, 7.5 ECTS credits, except the thesis course, which is 13, and there is also a possibility to do a longer internship, which is 15 credits. But apart from that, everything is 7.5. And the first semester is first focused on public health issues. So the first course is called Global Public Health. And then you have a elective where you elect either sexual and reproductive health and rights or nutrition public health. That is then followed by some methods courses, first one in epidemiology and then one in biostatistics. So that's the first semester. The second semester starts with more methodology, now qualitative methodology. And then we have 3 theoretical courses that follow each other. First, health policy, then health economics and health systems, and then finally a course in health promotion. The third semester starts with the first half of the semester is an elective period. This is where you can do internships, but also courses. If you took the, let's say, public health nutrition course, or if it's nutrition public health, I never remember, sorry. You can choose to take the sexual and reproductive health and rights course in the second year if you prefer to. And we also offer the course in cost effectiveness and impact assessment. We also have a collaboration with gender studies and offer a couple of their courses. And we also allow pretty much anything. The rules regarding master programs is that you need to have a certain number of credits in the field of the master degree, and the mandatory courses fulfill that threshold by a lot. So if you want to take a course in French, please do. It's up to you. And then we end the third semester with first a course in which is called Leadership and Professional Perspectives, where we both look into how leadership plays into public health, but specifically how leadership plays into project management, which will be a big part of what public health professionals do in their professional life. And then we end with another methods course, which is called Applied Research Methods, where you study methods closely related to or even the same as the methods you will apply in your thesis. So we kind of cheat and give you an extra 7.5 credits and training in the methods you're going to use for your independent research work. And then there is the thesis, which is the last semester, the spring semester. So that is pretty much the program.
All right, thank you so much for that summary of the program structure, Martin. And I can see we do have quite a few questions flowing in now from our participants, but I would also, of course, like to give our other program representatives the chance to give a summary of their program as well. So Agneta, if you did already give a little bit of a summary of your program, in fact, but if there's anything else that you would like to add in terms of the program structure.
Yeah, I can just say that we have 7.5 credit courses, apart also from the thesis course. And the first semester is an introductory course in research design, methodology, research design. And then you take the first course in evidence-based practice. We follow the Cochrane collaboration and the literature from, the well-known literature about evidence-based practice. And then you take a course in health and health promotion, which is also stretching out, of course, to global health. Then you take the first methods course, which is the qualitative methodology. We start with that. Then the second semester starts with statistics, a course in assessment and evaluation, where you need both the qualitative and the statistics course. And then you end up, the third course is a course in e-health, and then there is an elective course just before summer, so that you can use the summer break as well for sort of extending your elective course if you want to do an internship or so that. Then the third semester starts with the second course in evidence-based practice, which is also focused quite a lot on health economy and implementation. Then you have a course in complex healthcare interventions. So it's basically, it's very much an application of everything you have learned during year one and the course in evidence-based practice 2. Then there's a course in leadership and innovation. And then the thesis course starts in December and ends in April. And then the last course of the program is also an elective course. So actually you end with an elective course where you can study whatever. We offer one a year, but if you want to take an elective course somewhere else, of course, you're free to do that. And the thesis course is, I would say that the majority of the students are involved in ongoing research projects, either here at the hospital or somewhere else.
All right, fantastic. Thank you very much for that summary, Agneta. And Magnus, I can see you've been busy answering some questions in the chat there that people have been asking about the biomedicine bachelor and master's programs. But if you could give a brief overview of the structure of the bachelor and the master program as well, that would be fantastic.
Sure. Can I share screen? You can allow
yes.
me to.
Yes,
sure.
I believe you should be able to do that.
Nope.
Oh, okay. No, that's the way the settings of the webinar have been set up. In fact,
so it's then I just restart then, I guess.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. All right. The bachelor program is 3 years old. 3 years long. It starts the first year with biology and chemistry of the cell. Will extend over the entire semester. And that is followed by biochemistry and genetics and more cell biology. The second year will be more specialized towards stem cells and neurons, the immune system, and how host pathogen interactions occur. And then we will continue to more molecular basis of disease and pharmacology and everything to prepare the students with, current subject knowledge in order to work either within academia or life science with research, basically. The third year is more translational and molecular medicine. And also there is a huge focus on how to present popular scientific or with graphical abstracts, how to finance your project, writing grant applications and all that such. So it's more like what it will be on the master's program, although in a smaller kind of perspective of the bachelor program. We use team-based learning, which means that in most courses, we require preparation from students. It's really, really important that you study with the study instructions that you have got before you come to lectures and group assignments. We do not use a lot of written exams at the end of each course, which is more the traditional way. So it's not that kind of setup that we use, but rather that we write papers, do presentations, try to be as authentic as possible. That is how we work on both bachelor program and the master's program. The master's program is starting with experimental design and scientific communication, where the students are actually trying to set up an experiment, they execute the experiment, and they report the experiment in teams. And you will work with scientists at the university within neurobiology, stem cell biology, or immunology, or whatever topic you're choosing. These are active research scientists that work on a daily basis with their research. You will be in the front line, more or less. With the biomedical methods and experimental animal models, you will work with animals and learn how to do that for setting up experimental models for pharmaceutical interventions and stuff. You will have a license to work with animals after that one. And you will also work with bioimaging, and we will have some of the teaching on MAX4 and ESS when that is completed, but MAX4 definitely. And the second semester on the master's program starts with electives, which means that you can choose what kind of studies you would like to do. If you are really interested in neurobiology, you will focus your studies on neurobiology. If you have another interest, you will focus your interest of that one. So it's, I mean, the electives are also really good if you would like to travel abroad to do some kind of project in Copenhagen or Berlin or wherever it is. The third year start with innovation and entrepreneurship, and that is really connected to the global health I mean, sustainability, developmental goals and everything that comes with that. We had this for the very first time this year, and it really was a great course for how to set up some kind of idea, how to patent your idea, how to take this innovation to product. And I believe that a lot of students that are really on the master's program, they will actually develop great stuff within the pharmaceutical, either something within the pharmaceutical industry or applications for tracking COVID or whatever it could be. It was a really impressive what the students came up with in their teams and how it connects to the global health problems that we have. And it will be finalist with one of two research tracks, either within the industrial research. We have approximately or slightly below 50% of the students are taking that one. So they are out in the pharmaceutical industry doing projects. And that research track is preceded by a course in drug development and clinical trials, which is really useful if you're going to work with that kind of competence in the future. Or you can do your research project at the biomedical center here at the university with some of the research teams there. And that in that case, that course will be preceded with a research project management course for 5 weeks. So you can really learn how to set up a project and how to manage a project and report a project. So that's the master's program. And that's actually both programs.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Magnus. And thank you everyone who's attending the webinar today who has asked their questions so far. And thank you to the panelists for answering some of those questions in writing. It might actually be better if we leave those questions and we discuss the answers so that everyone attending has an opportunity to hear the answer as well. And while we're on the topic of biomedicine, we do actually have a question here from Nancy, because Martin and Agneta have mentioned that there is actually a small assignment which is part of the application. And Magnus, is that the case for the biomedicine programs as well? Is there an assignment that the applicants are required to complete when making an application for the biomedicine programs?
For the master's program, yes, not for the bachelor program. We are admitting some of the students ourselves when it comes to the master's program to try to see that they really fit into the program and what we do. So the application, I mean, the assignment that is part of the application is really important there. When it comes to the bachelor's program, it's the central admission that take care of the applications, and it's really difficult. I don't really know for 100% what they are based this on. We had a previous question in the chat, which I answered, that says that 64% is the high school GPA. And the other one is something else when it comes to scoring students' applications. That is true for the national applicants, because then we also have something called Högskoleprovet in Swedish, which is a test that they are doing. So we have some of the students coming from that part. But when it comes to the international admission, I do not believe that they have some similar tests to do, but it's
what we can do for that is I actually do have a colleague, Rebecca, who is working on the back end of this webinar, answering some questions. And Rebecca, if you would be so kind as to post the link to the degree studies form so that that student can actually ask that question and we can get the admission staff to answer that one, because it can sometimes be a little bit unclear applying to our bachelor's programs. And also just quickly a top tip, if you're thinking about applying to the international bachelor degree in biomedicine, just remember that you actually need to have completed your high school studies by the time you make your application. You cannot apply with predicted grades. Unlike if you apply for a master's program in the last year of your bachelor degree, then you can actually apply and be conditionally admitted on the condition that you will complete the final year of your bachelor studies. All right, moving on to the next question, because we do have quite a few good ones in here. And Martin, this one is going to be directed at you. And it's from Isa, who asks, can you name a few examples of internships for the Masters in Public Health? Are there any collaborations with companies, or is this 100% your own responsibility to arrange? And is an international internship possible, or does it have to be based in Sweden? So Isa seems very enthusiastic about the program and is already thinking about the internship possibilities. Martin, what do you say about this?
Many questions there.
Yes.
But basically, you need to arrange your own internship. Though there are internships offered by host organizations throughout the program period. So I think this year we had, we're right in the middle of the internship seminars. So I had one batch today and another batch on Friday. But I'd say about half of them have applied to internships that we have posted on the program site. There are no constraints in terms of geography or type of organization. It can be universities, NGOs, private companies, etc. As long as it is an internship focusing on public health, we're good. And this year, most students did internships in Sweden, but I would guess the pandemic is probably the main reason for this. But we had students doing internships in Denmark, Belgium, Switzerland, Sudan, and the US. So all of those were remote. But I should also point out that internships in Sweden were also remote. So of the presentations we had today, it was only 2 students who had actually done office time. All the other ones had been sitting at home doing their internships. Just like anybody else working during the past year and a half, we've been at home. But I would say normally 2/3 or so are doing internships somewhere else. And it can be pretty much anywhere, doing whatever. So the main thing, it should be public health, and where and how is not that important.
All right, thank you so much for that, Martin. We do have quite a few questions coming in now, so I will keep the ball rolling and move on to the next question, which is from Betty. Now, Betty says, I earned a pharmacy bachelor degree several years ago. Which master's programs suit for my previous study? So Betty, first of all, I would like to remind you that Lund University does actually offer an international English taught master's degree program in pharmaceutical technology, which sounds like it would be a perfect fit for someone who has already completed their bachelor's degree in pharmacy. But I would like to throw the floor open to all our program staff today, if any of them believe that Betty would be suitable for your programs. Agnita is nodding her head side to side. So not medical science. And Martin has already specified that the public health program is actually open to quite a wide variety of people with...
I'd say normally we have 3 to 4 pharmacists in a batch.
Okay, so Betty, there you go. Public health could be suitable for you if you're interested in pivoting towards public health. And Magnus, would someone with a background in a bachelor degree in pharmacy be suitable for the biomedical programs?
We have actually had a couple of pharmaceutical students on our master's program, but I must say that it kind of differs between different countries on what's included. So the most important thing is that you can meet the entry requirements, that you have sufficient with cell biology, molecular medicine, chemistry, biochemistry, and all that. And that differs between different pharmaceutical schools in the world. So some of them have been part of our master's program. Some have not really reached there yet. I also have one question, which I'm answering right now, but yes, I can answer it live perhaps.
Yes, it's from Natalie, just in case.
Yeah, it's from Natalie, yeah. To study the Masters in Biomedicine in Lund is the bachelor degree in biomedical science from Malmö University not to be eligible. Now, biomedical science and biomedicine are slightly different. Biomedical science is often biomedical analysis, biomedicinsk analytiker in Swedish, which is lab technicians internationally. But biomedicine is really research oriented. So the same goes for biomedical science bachelors, that sometimes they are not really eligible based on the current curricula, of course. Sometimes they are, but sometimes they aren't. So from Malmö, I don't think that we have accepted any students from Malmö because there is something missing from our entry requirements that they do not have. If they have participated in studies beside Malmö, that perhaps could help, but you have to look into the entry requirements to see what is required from this course. So I will cancel that.
Sorry, I was muted there. Thank you so much for that answer, Magnus. That's fantastic. And just to all applicants, all attendees in this webinar today, in case you weren't already aware, the program page for each given program that you want to apply to will give you all the information you need to know about the content of the program and about how to make a complete and correct application, how to meet the general entry requirements, and how to meet the program specific requirements as well. So always double check or triple check the program page when making your application. All right, so moving on to the next question. We do have quite a few here. So Agneta, I believe this one would probably be for you. It's coming in here, and the question is, do you offer fellowships in rehabilitation medicine or sports medicine for doctors who have done their graduation and post-graduation from outside Sweden?
The question is, what do you mean by doctors? Is it physicians? Because in that case, I don't know. Is it doctor of medicine or doctor of rehabilitation with a degree maybe in physiotherapy? I don't know, but if so, I can. It's a little bit closer to me. I think the question is, I don't know.
Okay. All right.
The answer is, I don't know.
All right. Sorry if I pronounced this person who asked this question incorrectly, but Aya Sweeney, if you, we still have 15 minutes left in the webinar. So if you could ask your question again, perhaps in the Q&A, just be a little bit more specific there to help Agneta answer your question. That would be very much appreciated. All right, we have another question here from Nancy, and she is asking about the biomedicine program, but this is actually a question that I will ask to all of the panelists today, but first I'll ask it to Magnus. What type of student would be ideal for the biomedicine master? Anything specific you are looking for?
Well, what we are looking for are students with competencies in cell biology, biochemistry, immunology, molecular medicine, some pharmacology as well. Everything that is stated in the entry requirements. If you can meet those criteria, you are ideal to study biomedicine masters. We have some doctors, physicians that have applied, but sometimes that is not sufficient because they lack chemistry. Chemistry is a big part of the biomedicine field. Sometimes we have pharmacists that have applied, but they lack sometimes the molecular medicine part, which is pathobiology. So it all depends on the previous courses that you have had in your degree project. So it's really difficult to say, but read the entry requirements. And if you feel that you can really show that, then you are a perfect match for a program.
Perfect. And Martin, I'll throw this question over to you as well. What type of student would be ideal for the master's program in public health?
Hopefully not a typical one. No, but we're not looking for typical students. We're looking for a diversified classroom if we're looking for something. We always end up with a diversified classroom, but we're really not handpicking students. We work with 9 different criteria when assessing your applications, and we score you on those. And for some reason, we end up with the classrooms that are really international, that are really diversified in terms of scientific background, which are very, you have people who have worked several years, you have people who have not. So I'd say, I say that's what we want. We want to have a diversified classroom, and my impression is that we won't change those criteria much. Now everybody's asking, what are those criteria? But it's basically, it's what already mentioned. It's your academic background, and it is what it is. And it's your professional background, which you can't do much about either. And then it's solving the small assignment, which is responding to a couple of questions, and then try to do that in both a personal and well-structured way.
Fantastic. Thank you, Martin. And Agneta, I would also like to ask you, what type of student are you looking for in the medical science program?
I think that we are looking for basically the same as Martin. We aim for, of course, you have to have the degrees that are required in order to be admitted to the program. But I would say that we aim for diversity in gender, in age, in cultural background, in professional experiences. And it turns out that, yes, some years there's more nurses, the next year there's more speech and language pathologists, but all in all, I think we're quite it differs whatever we do. But I would like to add something, and I think that coming to Lund University and the Faculty of Medicine would probably be quite a different experience in terms of ways of teaching and learning, how you work as a student, because no professor or teacher will tell you what to read. They will give you tasks to fulfill, and you need to plan your time. You need to find the literature out of the recommended literature, and you need to collaborate a lot with your fellow students to sort of come up with the solution to the task and to reach your learning outcomes. So I think that you need to be very open-minded, you need to be curious, you need to be very interested in others, your fellow students' perspectives, both in terms of their professional perspectives and experiences, but also in terms of cultural perspectives, traditions.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that answer, Agneta. And we do have a few more questions here. The next question is from Philip, and he's asking, how is the student atmosphere for biomedicine in Lund? I would quickly like to say, Philip, that Lund University is very, very famous for its vibrant student life, and we are proud to be officially Sweden's most international university, with international students coming from over 130 different countries. But Magnus, perhaps you could briefly let Philip know about the student atmosphere in the biomedicine program.
in the biomedicine program, I must say that the students' atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. Sometimes students realize that perhaps biomedicine is not really what I aimed for or what I actually would like to be when I am finished with this program, but they stay because of the students cohorts. I mean, they really take care of each other, and they are absolutely amazing. Some of our students would really like to be vets or physicians instead of researchers, but they stay because of the student atmosphere basically at the program. So it's sometimes too good, I would say.
All right, that's not really a problem though, I guess. And Martin or Agneta, anything you would like to add about the student atmosphere on your programs as well here?
One thing I would really like to stress is that we're not in Lund. I think it has to be said out loud and clear. We're in Malmö. And for those of you who don't know southern Sweden, Malmö is Sweden's third largest city. So it's about 3 times the size of Lund. It's not far away from Lund. It's a 15-minute train ride. So we have students living in Lund and commuting to Malmö for their studies. We also have several students living in Denmark commuting here because the train ride from downtown Copenhagen to campus is about 37 minutes, I think. The Malmö is bigger, but not really a typical student town, even though there is a Malmö University as well. We are located our campus is located in the University Hospital area, in a really good place. When it was constructed 10 years ago, it won the City Architectural Prize, but it's not as ancient and archaic as the university library or the university building, which I have somehow manipulated to become my background. But the venue is quite appreciated by students. Students like to be in Malmö, and I think one of the reasons is that we're a master's program. So most students are not 20 years old and want to run around at the student nightclubs, which are great, by the way. So I'm not saying anything else. So we're in Malmö, just so everybody knows.
Thank you for that very much, from Martin. And I would also like to add that Malmö is also only a 25 or 30-minute train ride away from the capital city of Denmark, Copenhagen, which is an absolutely fantastic city. So many students studying and living in Lund and Malmö also love to take day trips or weekend trips to Copenhagen as well. And Agneta, was there anything you would like to add about the student atmosphere on your program?
Yeah, I would say that in spite of the pandemic, our students have managed to really come together, support each other in many different ways. So I'm thinking, what would it have been if we had been able to be here? So yes, I think the students are amazing in keeping together, supporting each other, and with whatever it is. So yeah, I can definitely say that there's a good atmosphere among those as well.
Brilliant. All right, so we are get towards 3 o'clock here in Sweden, but we do have another question here from Bashir, which hopefully we can answer. So Bashir's BSc is in kinesiology, exercise science major with an associate degree in sports therapy. And he would like to go into his master degree in autumn 2022. Which is the best master's program, in your opinion, that is the best for him to apply to? Would seem like Agneta, perhaps you might want to answer this.
Yeah, and I might be a little bit disappointed, because I don't think that you're eligible for the Master Medical Science program. It is very close to physiotherapy, but but I think it's still different. So if you don't have a bachelor's degree in physiotherapy, you won't be admitted, sorry to say.
That's okay. It's good to know the entry requirements, because we do only really want students who meet the entry requirements to make an application. All right. Looks like my colleague on the back end, Rebecca, is actually answering this question. It's another one from Isa. It's for Martin, and he has actually more or less answered the question already, but we can just quickly touch on it again. Is the bachelor requirement for the master's in public health? It's not specified which bachelor is required. Does this mean all bachelor's degrees are sufficient? Martin, if you could just touch on that one again. What type of bachelor degree is required?
Yes, basically everything is sufficient. There are some country requirements to have in mind. I know, for example, if you are from India, you need a 4-year bachelor's, not a 3-year bachelor's, and so forth. But you need to check out your own country requirements, which is general for all of Sweden, on the Swedish central website, which I think is universityadmissions.se. Very snappy web link. That said, we can basically categorize our students into 2 main groups. It's students with a health science background and students with a social science background. And then we have the odd ones that pops up from time to time and often do great. So it's not a problem having we've had one student who had a background in fine arts, one in English literature, one in journalism, one in law, several engineers. So, I mean, it's not just because your background doesn't necessarily discuss health, it doesn't mean that health is not important for engineers or legal people. It's just that they don't think so.
All right. Thank you so much for that answer, Martin. And well, that was a very, very quick hour, because it is now 3 o'clock local time here in Sweden, which means we will be wrapping up this webinar very shortly. As the host and moderator of the panel, I would like to thank all our staff for attending today, and I would very much like to thank all our participants for attending and for their very insightful questions. I would like to remind everyone that we are open for applications, and we will be open until the 17th of January. So the 17th of January is the last day that you have to select your programs and rank them. You can apply to up to 4 programs if you're applying at a master's level, and 8 if you're applying at a bachelor level. And then you actually have until the 1st of February and to upload all your required documents. I would remind you once again to look at the program page on the Lund University English Language website, where you can find a summary of all the content of the program, and you can find the required entry requirements and the program specific requirements and any other necessary documents which are required there as well. So all the information you need in order to make a complete and correct application is located on the program page, which you can find on our main website. So I would also like to give our panelists an opportunity to give some concluding thoughts, perhaps why students should consider applying to that program, or anything else that you would like to add that we have not discussed perhaps today. So Magnus, I would like to let you finish with some concluding thoughts first.
Well, if you're interested in biomedicine and solving similar problems that we have just experienced in the world this last 18 months, then you should definitely apply. And we have also world-leading scientists which are going to help you develop as a biomedical student, regardless of bachelor or master's, the master's program. So we're happy to look at your applications and welcome you to Lund if you choose biomedicine.
Thank you very much, Magnus. Agneta.
Yes, I would like to say that you should come to Lund and the medical science program. If you're interested in learning and develop your knowledge in collaboration with fellow students from other professionals within the healthcare sector, and if you would like to join in with world-leading researchers in healthcare and rehabilitation, that's probably it. You will be in the front line of healthcare, health science, and healthcare education.
Thank you very much, Agneta. And Martin.
Well, as my colleagues have said, Lund University is a world leader in health sciences, and that goes for public health as well. So, I mean, it's an environment where if you like, not all students like, but if you really like to challenge yourself, you can be very challenged academically. But as I said before, and I think both Magnus and Agneta has pointed it out, we have a very student-centered approach to pedagogy, which means that if you as a student need are driven by your inner drive, then you come to the right place. If you feel that you need a whip, go somewhere else. Because we foster that inner drive, and teachers and professors love to discuss with you and be your sounding board. But we don't really like to tell you and direct you. So I think if you want to explore your own capacity, and I mean your own, Lund University is a great place in the Faculty of Medicine. And you will be interacting with fellow students with the same kind of drive, which makes it an environment which I think is awesome in so many ways. And I think that's what our students, when they leave, they say that what they will really bring with them is the network they develop over the years here as students, because it's a network that is very, very resourceful for them in future years.
All right. Thank you very much for that, Martin. And thank you so much to all our panelists for your insightful answers to the questions that we have received today. And we have gone a little bit over time, so I will be ending the webinar now. So thank you everyone for attending. And of course, you can always send us a question if you have any further application questions in the future. All right. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.